Justin is being in.
You want to show this on?
Oh man, that was on video.
Is that wireless? Is that you have that one too, Justin? The wireless? There we go. We'll go to you. Okay, so the question is, why are we splitting up? First, yeah, I know you're done, dude. Get out of here. We're not splitting up. We still love each other. Nobody's upset. Nobody said, guys, I'm out of here. I'm done. We're basically coming off the road is what it comes down to. We've been doing this full time for 12 years as these four guys since '01, and we are no longer the young, single, crazy guys that drive around the country in a van anymore. I've got 2 kids. Glenn's got 3. Jay's got 1. We're all married. We've all got families back at home. It's kind of time to be home for a longer time for our families. And so, for some people, that seems just like a crazy thing to do. Why would you give up all the glitz and glamour? And there you go. That's we know better, and we've always told our families from day one that they were kind of first priority. And so when the time came, and the Lord has made it really clear, and we're excited about kind of the next stage. But so chances are, once we all kind of get settled in the next stage and figure out what we're doing, we'll get back together and play shows periodically just for fun, and maybe record again together. And so that is definitely all in discussions and all down the road. But for now, we're kind of setting up shop at home and taking care of things on the home front.
Good question. Working on solo albums. Yeah, Mark's actually done an EP that gets released.
I've recorded 5 songs in the last few months. Yeah, it's an EP. It's going to release in January. It's kind of a pop thing. I don't know where that's going to go, but I've got this Queen Extravaganza thing going on, touring with that band. It's very part-time. We did a tour in last June, and we're going out again in January. So it's kind of like a once or twice a year thing. So the EP is basically going to be something to sell on the table as my solo stuff. Don't really know exactly what we'll be doing specifically yet, so still trying to figure that out.
I'll definitely hobby my way through something in the next 5 years. Yeah, I definitely feel like there's a need to do something like that. Makes sense. Mark and I have always been creating consistently, demos and stuff in our home studios, and I just can't see that really changing a whole lot, so I think we'll just keep on doing what we love to do. So that's some of the funnest times too, is the studio environment and stuff. It's really great. I work on the side a little bit in production, so headbanging to different records at different times as well. Not my own stuff, but other people's. Find myself there a lot too. I was able to, I think it's 2 years ago, I did a side project with a friend, sort of like a solo deal, but with somebody else. And so that was one side project I did, and I'm guessing something will come along with somebody, or else I might just wait till this happens. I do have my bass and trumpet jazz fusion solo album I'm working on. Just kidding. I mean, if you want it, I'll create it. I don't think anybody else will buy it.
Anybody else? Glenn, what are you doing in the meantime?
Yeah, just asked what I'm doing in the meantime. I'm moving, I've been in Canada for the last 8 years, and my wife and I moved to Nashville when we all moved there. We moved back to Canada when my first son was born, and just accepted a job in Williamsburg, Virginia, at a church there as director of worship arts. And so now my whole family's moving. Now that the band's done, we're moving from Canada to the United States. So I won't be too far, really, from you guys. We'll get to enjoy the warmer climate, so that'll be nice.
secret, but I'm just curious after all this time, do you guys have anything planned for tonight? Like, what do you do after 12 years since you left?
You know, what's funny is we have to rush out and get home. We've got a driver that needs to get to the airport by a certain time, and so we're just gonna be on the bus and probably reminisce a little bit, and then. Yeah, last night we did. Well, actually, yeah, because Glenn's off the bus, so last night was kind of the time that more, you know. You know, although this is the end of the touring for us, we've got 2 one-offs left. One is in Burlington, Ontario, for it's a GMA thing. It's kind of, I don't know if it's a closed event, but it's not something that, you know.
No, it's open. It's like the
isn't
Canadian Dove Awards, basically.
Oh, it is an open thing?
Yeah.
Okay. And then Youthquake in Saskatchewan, which is a big youth conference at our college where we kind of formed up, is having us this year in February to do that. I don't know if they've released that to the public or not. So we're still like in denial or a little bit about, you know, probably I'm thinking because some of the wives are going to come up to the show in February at Brackrest, that'll be kind of the, you know, oh wow, this is for real skis, you know, and we'll shut it down. And so, yeah.
Yeah, question.
Do you have like 1 or 2 of your favorite memories from the past 12 years of touring? I would say all of you, but might take all night.
1 or 2 of us might take all night.
One of us might take over. You know, it's different places that we do travel and kind of be exposed to. For me, it was Northern Ireland's become kind of a special place for me. We got to play. We opened a show in the Odyssey Arena in Belfast, opening for Chris Tomlin, and it was just this huge, amazing show, and we were really well received, and amazing country, amazing promoter, great people, and it was cool. Yeah, but this place is cool too. Yeah, good people here too.
Yeah, I would think, yeah, I mean, we can point to we've been able to play in a lot of really cool places and meet a lot of cool people. But I think even looking back, even just the last 4 shows, you know, will be a really special memory as we think about, you know, we played Nashville Wednesday, Accident, Maryland on Saturday, Wilmington, North Carolina, or that's tonight. Williamsburg, Virginia, last night. And each of those shows, people went to great lengths to come up to the show. You know, Wednesday night we had people in from Arizona, Texas, Ohio, Michigan, Alabama, Georgia. There were probably 7 or 8 states represented there. Oh, no, that was last night. The last 2 shows, we had a couple flying from San Diego, California, to catch 2 shows, as well as, there were some other, I mean, Maryland, Florida, yes, people came up from Florida last night. You know, we got Wyoming represented here tonight. Utah, see, there you go. My brother's in, we've got another country, my brother's in from Calgary. So, you know, it's just, you spent 12 years, you know, in the grind, you're always looking to the next tour, or the next show, or the next record, and you almost in some ways get immune to, okay, well, what are we doing out here? Is this really worth the time away from my family and having to FaceTime with my kids every night? You know, what is this about? And so it's just been really an encouragement. So thank you guys for the expense that you took to come out here and to be a part of this. It's very affirming, and just kind of reminds us that, okay, maybe the Lord was really able to kind of speak to some people's lives in a special way. So
when I think about the last 12 years, like stuff that happened doesn't really stick out. Places we played, there's a few pretty crazy places we got to play. Those sort of stick out, but really what is lasting is the relationships we've made, the friends we've made along the way. You know, we had lots of them at the show last night, and that's really what matters. Like, that's the stuff that stays in your mind, those are the relationships that will continue, and that's what we cherish the most, really.
Wow, I was saying to my wife how if we wanted to, we could probably just get in our car and drive across the entire country. Any of us could do this, and we'd have people we could stay with the entire way and not ever have to get in a hotel or maybe buy food. I mean, like, it's just we've got so many people, and yeah, we're definitely rich in our friendships and relationships that we've had.
We were in Williamsburg last night, and someone had pointed out, because of our travel, that we've been to all lower 48 plus Alaska. We've never been to Hawaii. Well, Mark has been to all 50 states. He went to Hawaii and was thinking, but and last night President Obama was in Williamsburg where we were playing, and as I was on stage, I was thinking about someone had made the connection that, well, you guys have been to more states than any president has ever been to. And I thought that was interesting. And then I got thinking about clout and what changes the world. I thought, how cool is it? Like, just that comment made me think how connected the body is and how we serve each other. And we've been able to see, I think one of the best treasures of the road is being able to travel across the country in a week and hear almost the exact same message being preached at different prayer meetings. And it's like it's almost like someone's at the helm of the church directing what's happening, And but to be able to see it firsthand has been such a blessing to us, and to be able to see God at work in very similar ways in different parts of the country at the exact same time, and the same themes, the same conversations, and it's really, really cool. That's been great.
You're gonna have to speak up.
I just want to say thanks on behalf of all of us, really, that what you guys, the sacrifices that you've made, as families have made, all the time spent on the road, sleeping in the van, on the bus, on the floor, wherever, or the bus breaking down in the middle of the night, not sleeping at all. So I know that I speak for everyone here, and to say we thank you for your years of ministry and music that you've shared. Keep that with us. We're excited for this new chapter, but we're also sad. So just, we're glad that you're sharing this night with us. So we just want to thank you.
You stood a little closer, I might have started crying. So
Yeah.
Staying back a little bit there.
Susie, who just spoke, is responsible for tonight, and they brought us in several times, and been incredible promoters and incredible friends. We've always stayed at their home, and they come out to different shows, and they're just great people. And so thank you for having the last night of the Downhere touring experience. We appreciate you guys a lot.
Yeah. We somewhere inside that, so you're somewhere. You're good. You're good.
Right, dead center. Thanks.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is something that the Lord is doing. It was causing this opportunity and other opportunities and everything. Here's for our love. What are some challenges that you in the Christian course?
What? Yeah, did everybody hear that? Yeah, one of the challenges basically of being a Christian in a Christian band touring in this world. I want to start with one of the benefits, which kind of ties in. As we travel and tour, this isn't the benefit part, but we miss a lot of Sundays, because we're on the road, and so we maybe get to our own church once a month if we're lucky. But on the other hand, we spent some real quality time with some of the best thinkers, like a lot of you. Jason Gray has come into town soon, he's one of our best buds. We've toured with him 7 or 8 tours now, and we were out with him and Aaron Schuss for the last year quite a bit. And just spending that time, it's almost like you might go to your small group locally here. Our small groups every night on the bus working together, and then it's kind of like summer camp but on steroids. You know, we're together and traveling, and then we don't see each other again for a year or a week or whatever it happens to be. So that's just one small thing, that there's this huge great thing, and then but you also have the thing of not being at your home church.
To me, it's I think coming off the road, I'm really noticing. I'm working at my church in Franklin, Tennessee, and really noticing how used to autonomy you get, like just being able to say, call what you want done and have it, no, we're gonna do some of this stuff, and and it doesn't work that way in church. As a guest, you can just kind of fly in and blast away and do your thing, have a prophetic voice, say some silly things on the microphone, and take off. There's a lot more accountability when you're living with people, and that's both a healthy thing and an unhealthy thing. I think it's been really good for us to be an equipping tool of a church to come in and be able to say some things that need to be said, or do some encouraging that need to be done in a different kind of way. And so I think the challenge as a Christian for me now, just coming off the road, is some of that. But I think for on the road, the challenge has been, how do I have any kind of consistency in life? With this chaotic schedule, you're at the mercy of, your calendar's at the mercy of management and booking. You're always fighting for your time, trying to protect your time. For a guy like me who, I just love the pace. I love a slow-paced life. I think my natural instinct is to have regimen. To live in this chaos is really difficult, and I don't know that actually I ever found a real peaceful place in all of this. In some ways, maybe that's what fed the songs, was trying to struggle through what it is to be away from home and missing your wife and mourning, oh man, I gave my 20s to a bunch of people I'll probably never see for the rest of my life. That's weird, right? I gave away, there's a lot of sacrifice, and you're thinking about those sacrifices while you're in them as well. Like, wow, I missed some great opportunities. And I think that's one of the rules of life, is like, any yes to one thing is a no to everything else. And so anytime that you've seen us on the road, our wives haven't, and that's weird. And that's been the hardest thing, I think, for all of us. Yeah.
I think one of my biggest challenges has been, I'm very much an introvert. Like, if you take one of those personality tests, I'm like 100% introvert. And for me, the challenge has been being vulnerable and open with strangers every day on the job, and dealing with the whole fact that we're on stage, but we're ministers at the same time. One time, a good friend of ours who's a radio DJ in England challenged us on the fact that we called ourselves missionaries. We're like, well, we believe we're missionaries, that's kind of a nice thing to say as a Christian artist. And he said, really, how are you a missionary? Compare yourself, look at real missionaries who are, yeah, exactly. You're not risking your life every day here, let's be honest. But you're still kind of living in that tension of being a minister, and we got like these lights on us and big sound and all that stuff, yet still trying to convey to people that I don't have a more special relationship with God than you do. I'm just living my life and trying to give the glory to Christ and anything good that happens. And that's a challenge in itself, because you've got this fake rock star thing going on. People are looking to you as a leader. Naturally, they look up to you, and at the same time, you're trying to disassemble that full view and be honest about who you are, and try to figure out, well, what can I talk about on stage and what can I not talk about? What's private that people don't need to know about? And it's just it's a tension you live in every day.
And I think that's why you see a lot of bands like, Switchfoot, Jars of Clay, bands that are kind of intellectual in their nature, kind of reach a decision like, oh gosh, we've set ourselves up to be models. We're not models, we're just people. And the whole construct of this industry is, let's have heroes. Let's have some heroes that we can look to, and we'll put some lights on them, we'll make them sparkly, we'll make them sing real well, and we'll sing great, we'll put smoke on them, we'll cover the defects. And we can kind of worship them a little bit, and maybe they can be our voice. They can be our priests in some ways, so that we're a little closer to God. And they go, whoa, no, whoa, is that what we signed up for? No. We're going to be a secular band, because that's the other option. And because it is, and so I think we've tried to wrestle, like, how do you do this and be vulnerable and real, but also not try to, we've even caught ourselves in the past, like, trying to be the model. And DC Talk had that song, What If I Stumble, What If I Fall, I think that was kind of addressing some of that, Anyway, all that to say, yeah, I agree with what Mark was saying about that being a strong, weird thing in our industry, in our culture, subculture, and church that is unhealthy,
All right, David, hang on. I'm going to see if anybody else have a question. Oh, geez, you guys. I could probably field one more here, then we're going to have to open doors. So you're the lucky guy, and we'll talk to you after the show. All right. What's your question?
This may not be a simple question for you to answer, but I really appreciate your guys' music. And I think your lyrical quality is amongst the best that I've heard. And the depth of the theology and understanding of God that's a good portion of it is what has touched me the most over the last decade. So I was wondering, as you go your separate ways, are you going to be working with any other Christian bands in terms of writing, giving counsel, giving sort of insight? Because what you just mentioned, I think, is really a very important insight. How do you stay grounded in what matters and yet still give people that insight to the truth? You guys have done a really good job doing that. We need more of that. Music with real depth and understanding of God.
It's a really interesting question. Let me answer that real quick, and then you can jump in. Because Jay and Mark are our songwriters, our lyric writers. So when you get into that, that's their world, and you're right, they have an absolute gift. What I heard in here that I think is so really vital and is a real need is the need for mentoring, for artists who've been around for a long time to be digging and investing in the younger artists. Yes, we would love to do that. The problem is, if you look at our story, with the great lyrics, the great theology, we haven't sold very well. We haven't had a lot of radio hits. The Christian music buyer is not rushing to iTunes to download our records. So it's a challenge from the commercial aspect. Why would somebody want to listen to input from down here when they could listen to input from somebody who's gone multi-platinum? He's riding in multiple, they each have their own bus. You know what I mean? So there's that tension that will always be there.
The struggle between the beat poet and the pop poet. It's just uncelebrated talent is a cliche. It just is. And that's okay. You have to make that decision, and you can't feel entitled to your decision, and being like, oh, well, I decided to focus on this very narrow demographic of people, and all of a sudden the whole world doesn't love all my stuff. Yeah, it's not the way it works. You kind of make your decision, and you live with it, with that decision. And we feel very much that was intentional on our part. We would have loved that our demographic, we thought maybe it might have been a little bigger than it was, but But the interesting thing is we're kind of in the postmodern thing. So, the band Coldplay, the band U2 and Sigur Rós and Keane. Those are bands that we find faith in, because we now have de-sacredized music, and we can, all truth is God's truth, and so we find our faith in songs that are beautiful. And for me, Simon and Garfunkel, and dating back, I think that's probably why bands like us that have tried to be marketed to the Christian world have kind of struggled because a lot of our demographic is eaten by kind of the more popular stuff like us, which is fine because we're big fans of all those bands too, you know. So does that make sense? So yeah, you can't feel entitled to your decision for some sort of, you know, success or something like that. Yes, absolutely. And the truth of, and that's what we've tried to do, is mix in the truth of the gospel and the real hope and the true story of the gospel, you know. So.
And we made the decision to do that, to pursue truth, to share truth, as opposed to pursuing the radio single or the super sales success and all that kind of stuff. And that was, in some ways it was a conscious decision, in some ways it was forced on us, but because of the path we were going. Does that make sense? So, he already has, and he will continue to do so. Thank you guys.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, appreciate it. So we're gonna jet. We're gonna open the general doors. So let me give you two things here. One, feel free to stay where you're at. You have the ability to see wherever you want. If you want to get sweat on, this is the best place to be. If you want the best sound, I would suggest you move back. The word of advice is always, the room always sounds best by the sound guy. So that would be, sonically, that would be your best choice. Otherwise, thank you. Enjoy the show. We'll see you afterwards.